Hey y'all, welcome in. If you're new or just passing through my channel, welcome. My name is Tam. I'm also known as the Enlightened Auntie. If you're returning, welcome back, squad. I'm here today to do another general collective reading. We're not sign specific here, we're also gender fluid. May say you and I'm talking to them, may say them, I'm talking to you. Put yourself in the story wherever you seem to fit. Remember that time and energy are fluid, so it could be talking about the past, present, or the future. Take the parts that resonate, leave everything else behind. If you would like to book a personal more aligned with your own story, all of my information is below in the description box, and I invite you to join me for a session. Welcome back, y'all. Hope everybody's doing good and feeling good. I realized I started the last video off a little ranty, but I was hella irritated because I checked my comments just before I went on camera. So I was a little bit irritated. You know how we fix that? I just block folks. Child, I don't have time to argue with anybody. You can either take the suggestion of checking out a new, reader or not. I don't really care. I was just trying to share, and then I had somebody in my comments wanting to argue with me. I hate when people tell us what to do. Child, I'm not telling you what to do. Even when I'm doing these readings, I ain't ever telling you what to do. I'm highly suggesting and recommending. If you don't want to follow along with the suggestions or recommendations, that's your business. I don't really care either way. Alright, so let's get into it, see what Spirit wants to talk about. What else is going on in the world? Hell, this could be a part 2 from the last reading. Last reading was all tarot. This, I'm just starting off with oracles, but it kind of looks like an energy of somebody needing to make a decision or take some action. Like if you've already made a decision, I think in the last reading it was kind of like if there's an environment that you're not really feeling anymore, then you have to actually take action to make something change. Here it's like, okay, make the decision, and if you've made the decision, now it's time for you to take action, because time for a nap is in the reverse. It's time for some action. Okay. This may be a part 2, because it feels very much like in the recent past, somebody here has, because it's all connected. So if you went back to something, say you went back to something, right? Like, because regeneration talks about second chances. So maybe you went back to something for a second opportunity, second look, second chance, reconciliation, whatever, right? But it appears that you, or either you or the environment, calls for something very specific, like under very specific conditions, under very specific terms, under very specific guidelines. It's got to be like this. If we're going to do this again, then it's got to be like this, 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 and this, right? But then going into the future, what you're being challenged by, and this feels more like a challenge, it's kind of like if you went back to something for a second chance with an expectation of it working out a certain kind of way, in the future, now you're kind of being challenged to look at the situation and see if there were red flags that you may have missed, avoided, or ignored. Huh. Oh, wow. I might automatically have a couple of clients that I want to send this to. This is almost like the last. This is almost like the last video. So again, it could be a relationship, or it could be a situation like a workplace situation, or even, you know, school or something. Because this kind of feels like maybe what you lost sight of was the intentionality behind why you chose to go back into a situation. Why did you go back? And then there's also a question of whether or not this thing was it meant for you to go back, like, because mending is in the reverse. So we know when mending is in the reverse, it tells us that there's no energy that kind of supports this reconciliation. Or maybe because here there's a rigid expectation. It's got to be like this, like this, like this, right? And here, this also gives me the same rigid kind of energy where you're kind of struggling with going with the flow because you have an expectation. You have this, there's an expectation here. I'm sorry. There's an expectation here. So, but it's also tied to, like, it's tied to your emotions. So you're having some struggle. There is a component that does have something to do with the past, that you're having a difficult time managing the expectation, where you don't know really how, like, you're struggling with going with the flow. But it has something to do with your emotions. That's the reason why. And there's something that you're looking back at. Your focus is on the past. Your focus is on the past. And so that puts you right back in the same position of needing to make a decision. But I have to point out too, the decision that you're making, it can't, like, what is the current condition? Okay, because we understand, and I'm just thinking because of the last reading, and I remember that, like, there was a new situation coming on board, but there was somebody here who was so focused on whatever happened in the past that they can't see the forest for the trees. Like, you had a new opportunity sitting right in front of you. You got it right there. It's coming, and it's probably approaching, or it's here. But because someone is so focused on, you know, disappointments from the past, that they, you know, were really not seeing this gift that was being laid right in front of them. And I'm seeing that same energy appear. It's in the background. So if you're not putting in, no, this is messaging right from the last reading. If you're not putting in any effort to actually create change for yourself, when the divine is kind of opening up, I heard opening up a portal way, like divine is opening up a portal for change. So if you're no longer putting in effort in the environment that you're in, then why are you having such a difficult time moving away from this? Because I can see here that you're not ready. You're not ready to make the decision. Or has the decision already been made and you're just not ready to take the action? Maybe that's really what it is, because this is the current energy. So maybe you're just not ready to take the action. You've already made the decision, but you're not quite ready to take the action. And the thing about it is, what you have to remind yourself, like, I think wherever you are or whatever you're dealing with, it's not a reflection of who you are. Or it's not a situation that's of your creation. So honestly, it's just about you taking that action. I'm going to say this is part 2 because I'm getting the same energy. So part of the fears could have something to do, and this is a part of the lesson. Now, mind you, it's funny because this is part of the fears and concerns, but there's a lesson in this because round and round is out here, and we know that round and round talks about repeating certain cycles until you finally learn the lesson. It has something to do about the amount of effort or energy that you put into something. Chop Wood talks about the mundane day to day. I do feel like this is something work related. Let me clarify. And this tells me that you haven't, like, part of the fears and concerns that you haven't quite learned the lesson. And I understand, like, not wanting, like, remember the last reading we talked about, like, there's a component of maybe becoming an entrepreneur, but there's a learning curve there, you know? And then you have the other group that's like, you know, if you want to, somebody, like, you may not be happy with the job that you're at, but you may not have something lined up to move towards. So what's the problem? It's kind of like you're, I don't know, this is weird. Are you staying there because you are trying to be helpful, or are you trying to be needed? Yes, and part of your blockage is, listen, part of the blockage is, I'm telling you, I think time's up. Part of your blockage is that you continue to keep giving to this situation. Maybe you continue to keep giving to a situation even though you don't actually want to be there. Honestly, you miss every shot you don't take. I don't really know what this is. You miss every single shot that you choose not to take. Okay, this is part 2. So remember when I said, and I've been talking about this because this is something that keeps coming up a lot in the readings. Here's the thing. Part of the lesson here was for you to experience the push and pull, because that push and pull was supposed to be your signal to be like, all right, I'm out. You know, it's kind of like, you know how when I talk about, you know, Mercury retrograde, like I'm real big on, I have a lot of mercurial placements. I love working with Saturn. I love working with Neptune. But here's the thing. Part of the reason why I enjoy Mercury retrograde, or because I finally understand what the concept is about it happening so frequently. We experience that retrograde frequently because we get these opportunities for, like, expedited learning, right? These are opportunities for us to revisit an energy that we've already been in and to make a new decision. And so basically this kind of feels like divine making the conditions almost unbearable in order to make you move. Like you, because I feel like you would be just, I don't even say content, but you would just continue to stay somewhere unless the conditions are made to be unbearable. And I think that's part of the lesson here, because when you feel the energy of resistance and there's that push and pull, it's not in alignment, and God's trying to show you that this, where you are, whatever this is, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, or it's your, you know, like an educational path or something, if you are doing something and you feel at odds with doing it, it's not in alignment with you, and God's trying to show you that. And I think deep down you know that, and you know that it's time for you to stop giving to it, but it's almost like you don't know how to stop. Okay. So I'm going to take this card because it flipped and it was in a weird position, but I'm going to take it anyway. Now, one, it feels like there's an energy that's encouraging you to just go. Especially if you're trying to manifest. I see there's actually two separate types of energies here. Because one is saying this, whatever you're doing has run its course. It's time to go. So there's that. But the flip side is, if there are conditions that you are trying to manifest, because this is the law of attraction, it still requires you to take action, because what you're looking for, if you're looking for some kind of change, that change isn't going to happen unless you actually do something about it. That is really loud out here. You want some change. You want something to change. But if you want something to change, you cannot rely on like whoever else is around you to make that change possible. At what point do you take responsibility for it and you create the change for yourself? Because that's really what this is. Because what did I say in the last reading? I said it felt a little, there was an energy out there that kind of felt like an ultimatum, like, you know, it got to be like this or I'm out. So if where you are, and remember the last reading, it was like you're not really happy where you are, and if you know you're not happy, then why not take the steps, the corrective steps, to either make the environment what you want or change the environment? Why wouldn't you actually do that? And then there's also a need to like kind of self-reflect over what part do you play in making the condition, like in the environment that you're in, what role do you play in making the conditions what it is? Because you have a hand in it too. Because your action or inaction also contributes to whatever it is. So if you're choosing to try to go the distance and keep on going, understand what it is that you're getting. And maybe you just don't, maybe everybody else that's involved is, and maybe they're not on board to make it your vision, make it look the way that you want it to look. There's a lot. Oh my, there's a bunch of different things going on out here. Oh, so there's something here that's coming to an end. But again, if you've already made the decision to wrap something up, then like I still say there's some action that needs to be taken. Like leaving, because travel is out here. Like leaving. Now, there is some success here in healing a situation. I don't know what this rigidity energy is out here. Or unless this is like in order for us to work together, in order something's got to change. Like it would be necessary, like I said, if we're talking about a relationship, it's like, okay, in order for us to come back together, we would actively have to work together to like heal the connection or whatever. And under these conditions, under these circumstances, it's got to be like this in order for us to be successful at healing the connection, or to give the second chance, you know, to give the second opportunity at like an actual winning chance. There's something that you... Okay. Looking at something objectively connected to the past intuitively you may know something. And I clarify because illuminated is in the reverse with intuition in the upright. So this tells me you don't need to see something to know what it is, because your intuition is telling you, oh, that there's some kind of, that there's a failure or breakdown in the relationship. So over here, it's like, okay, if we reconcile and get back together, we got to do these certain things, and we got to be able to heal the connection, you know. But again, it also requires, if there's healing that's necessary, then that would be for like both parties. If we're talking about a relationship, that would be like healing for both parties. It's if one person is only doing the work and the other person's not doing the work, then yeah, then intuitively, you know, going to the future, if somebody's not actually doing the work, then there's not going to be any success here. And you may even have people here telling you that, like, the way that you're seeing things is a little bit delulu. Yep, and if you're doing a whole lot of extras and you still see things aren't coming together the way you want them to, it just means it's not in alignment. Like, alignment is a big thing right now. If you're doing something that's not in alignment with you, you're going to feel it. Okay, now, okay. So maybe somebody lied about, because I remember it said changes in the wind, but there's lies out here. Maybe that's coming to the surface. There's change in the wind because something that you may have thought was permanent is actually not, and you're seeing that. It's being exposed or illuminated. That there's something coming to an end. It may require somebody having to move or relocate, change homes. The thing about this is, I kind of feel like, because this feels to me like support that you may not even think that you have. Especially if you're in a relationship and there's some shifts or changes in your relationship and there has been some lies or some kind of deceit. Because I kind of get the impression that maybe one person is putting in more effort than the other person into the overall relationship, if this is a relationship. Now, I also see something here too. You may be uncomfortable with... Yeah, see, because now you can see it. You couldn't see it before, but Spirit was trying to get you to see where there's friction. Where whatever you're involved in is not a reflection of you or what it is that you want. Maybe you're just not... Maybe you weren't ready to see it or communicate it. That's a possibility too. See, here's the thing. Maybe the biggest concern for you is a fear of change. Like, this almost feels like you tried to make it work for however long you've been trying to make it work or whatever. But honestly, maybe there's change that needs to happen and you've just been afraid of the change. Whatever that change is, whatever that means to you. This feels like part of your blockage has been to, like, I kind of feel like maybe, I kind of want to say I feel like you've known for a little bit of time, at least a year. You might have known for the last year that something has been a little, like, off. And then for you, you may have been trying to, like, wait it out. Like, maybe you were trying to wait it out to see if something would change. Okay, now if this is now I'm going back to work. The reason why I'm going back to work is this labor card came out. And this is an appropriate line for this. Because part of what you need to be released, I kind of think it's that fear of change. And if this is a job, like, yeah, you don't have any. Okay, here's the thing. If you're at a job, and I can say relationship, so either way, if you're at a job or a relationship and you just don't have any more passion for it, it just, like, the fire is gone, it's time to go. But you're staying. I told you, the divine is trying to make things kind of uncomfortable for you and creating conflict, you know, between you or in the environment that you're in, because they're trying to shake something up. Because if you're situated somewhere where you've already kind of known that, you know, something is starting to, like, the love affair is drying up. Again, this does not necessarily have to be a, like, relationship. It totally could be work. Yeah, it's like part of the lesson here was to, like, to self-reflect and ask yourself, what is it that you really want, right? And if the environment, or if you're in an environment or in a relationship that is creating this conflict and there's always this back and forth, it almost feels like again, we go back up here, like, why? Because I feel like part of the deceit, it may be you, like, lying to yourself, because it's like you're holding on to something that, like, you're kind of afraid of change. Like, you think you've tried all the, I don't know, like, maybe you think that you've tried all the things that you could try to keep it interesting, but there is this fear of change that's out here. And now that you can see that where you are isn't a reflection of who you are, and it's not something, this is not what you wanted for yourself. I feel like you're being guided away, and God's trying to show you, if this isn't it, then it's time for you to just go. And you have to be able to say, okay, I'm, as uncomfortable as it is for me to admit this, it's time to go. Bond is being severed. It's time to go. Stay grounded. Make a grounded decision. Make the decision to, if you're going to move away from something, make sure that you're making that decision from a grounded space, and stop resisting it. Because something has come to an end, and I think maybe you've been resisting the ending and just trying to plug along, even though it's been long. I want to say it's been long overdue. Whatever this is, it's been long overdue. Released. Now I waited for it to fall on the ground, but it's in the reverse, so it's kind of, it does feel very much like there's something here that you need to let go of, and you just, I heard the word refusal, but it feels very much like you've been resisting. Like, you know that something is coming to an end. You know that the time, like, the time on the clock is starting to wind down, but you've been just kind of holding on and plugging away and trying to hold on to something when it's just not giving what you wanted it to give you. Damn. Damn. It is not giving you, and it doesn't feel abundant. It doesn't feel like an abundant relationship or an abundant situation. And abundance, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about abundance in all forms. That security, the happiness, the well-being and all that. You don't feel that. Okay. Well, I got 10 more minutes before I pick up my daughter. Because she's a senior in high school, I'm trying to get all my time in with her now, so I make sure like all the home football games, I'm sitting right there with her. We got a football game tonight. You may be worried about obstacles. You may be worried about obstacles or difficult terrain in taking the actions that you want to take. May potentially also be worried about a loss of resources or loss of income. Okay. Now I remember when I said illuminate was in the reverse, intuition is in the upright. So something that you cannot see. Now we have key, which is hidden information. There's hidden information, something that you can't see. Could have something to do with this main female in the reverse. Usually when the people come in the reverse for me, it's distorted energy. So maybe there's hidden information about someone that you didn't know about, but your intuition may be telling you that there's something. And maybe when you got back together or when you reconciled, you're kind of, this is talking about like looking at something from a neutral lens, but then this is like peering back at the past. This feels like a bout of bad luck. Loss of opportunities. Okay, this could very well be a relationship coming to an end and then being in despair. This could be somebody getting tarot readings because they're having a difficult time going with the flow. So somebody may be going to get tarot readings in order to get guidance about maybe their partner. Yeah, so here's a relationship or a marriage or something, but somebody's not actually putting in any effort to like work on it. So if you're questioning why things all of a sudden took a turn, it's because somebody in this relationship isn't actually putting in any effort. Interesting. The inheritance card is out here. Somebody has been lying. There's a false person out here. But maybe there's a, I don't know, this inheritance card, it's connected to the broken contract or a broken marriage. This is in the background though. Now this talks about loyalty and trust. Somebody is not, oh my God. So somebody here is having a hard time going with the flow, but they're also having a difficult time with trust. Somebody has trust issues. Not ready to trust. That's crazy. Now this is interesting. This kind of looks like somebody here who went to so I don't know if somebody went to a practitioner seeking guidance or something. But down here it kind of feels like this almost feels like maybe they didn't know the person that they went to is like, there's a lot here. Hold on. Somebody being guided to make a decision. But this is seeing or being shown. Somebody being guided to see clearly. Okay, remember when I said down here, it's like somebody's not taking active action within a relationship or partnership when that action actually may be a component to like the change, the healing. If there's healing that needs to be done within this relationship, kind of feels like there's one party in the relationship that isn't actually like willing to do the work to heal or to heal the connection. That's kind of weird. So somebody is worried. This is weird. It almost feels like somebody is, like I said, somebody is worried about change, but it almost feels like somebody is worried about finding out that there have been some kind of like loss, because I do see that like this with this bad luck here and lies. It's like worried about finding out about some type of loss over time, defeat. Worried, but it's really centered like around change, like worried about change is not a bad thing. I wouldn't look at change as defeat though. Part of the blockage may also be there could be a distorted feminine energy here that may be in bad health, because there's some hidden information about this woman. So maybe there's a woman here that's in bad health. An unexpected loss. I said you gotta stop. Like if you're in an environment that you're no longer feeling like abundant in, it's like rip the band-aid off. You gotta rip the band-aid off already. I definitely have that fear of the unknown thing out here again. That's been part of the lesson. there's something here that may be hidden in your subconscious. About endings. There's something about endings. I want to say you have an issue there. There's a dynamic here of somebody who is having a struggle with change, but the change is centered around things ending or situations ending. That's part of what this is. It feels really weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's like somebody who's afraid, like they want change. Like I do see somebody really wanting change. They're not happy with whatever they got going on, but they're also not willing to really. Like I said, I don't really have a lot of action cards. Subconsciously, somebody knows what they need to do, but they just haven't taken the action to get there. They don't want something to be known publicly. I don't know. Oh, I gotta go. Yeah, this may have something to do with work. Toilet labor came out here. This may have something to do with work. And if the situation is, yeah, because see, there's some inflexible thing. If there's something in your job and there's a requirement that it's got to be like, you know, damn, relocation. It kind of gives me energy of like somebody, like, because the Stork card talks about relocation, flexibility, but you know, there's changes and there's got to be some flexibility. There was potential of relocation for work maybe, and somebody's worried like about relocating. Will relocating tear up the relationship or marriage or something if one person has to like go somewhere else? Child, I don't know what this is. But there's no blockages here. There's nothing preventing you from actually making changes. Shit. But there is the potential of the end of a marriage or something here with scales, courthouse, and coffin. Something coming to an end in the court system. There could be children involved. That's my daughter asking me if I'm on my way, so I better go. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it there. I know this is kind of undone and weird, but I'm going to leave it there. If any parts of this reading resonated for you, gave you clarity or confirmation over your own story, give the video a thumbs up so we can circulate into the algorithm, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for being here. Take care. Bye.